So I was on Crowder's show yesterday, and we were talking about the way we have these conversations, right? And the way that suddenly everything is a revolution. Everything is a moral crisis that we're in. All of a sudden, it happens, it's just like the rug being pulled out from under you. So for 2,000 years, homosexuality is the sin that dare not speak its name. It's so horrific that you can't even talk about it. You can't even mention for 2,000 years. Then one day, it's like if you are not in favor of gay marriage, you're a hater, you're a bigot, you're a terrible person. It's like that. It's Tuesday, 12 o'clock. Sorry, you were normal before. 12:01, you're a hater. And by the way, if you're Barack Obama and you had another opinion, it doesn't matter. But if it's you, you are a hater the next day. If anybody had come to you and said, let's have a conversation about this. Let's talk about this. I know 2,000 years, I know, we thought, this was a terrible sin. But here's my argument why it's not such a terrible. We on this show, you and I, the audience and I, have had civilized conversations about this back and forth that have given me a lot of cause to think about things. I hope I've given you some cause to think about things. But if just one day I came in and said, that thing you've been believing for 2,000 years, now you stink. Bang. Suddenly it's a crisis. Same thing meant transgenderism, even worse, really, with transgenderism. The difference between men and women is a human universal. There is no such thing as a society that does not divide the roles of men and women for obvious reasons. Why? Because there are two kinds of people in the world, only two kinds of people in the world. One of them is men, one of them is women. They're different. They have different roles. They have different roles in procreation. They have different kinds of personalities. So it's a human universal that they're different. One day, Thursday, 1:30, bang, if you believe that, you're a hater. Yes, all of humankind for all of human life has believed one thing. Thursday, sorry, time's up, you stink. So when you have that idea, of course, it's all based on the idea that they are selling you something that they really don't have an argument for. They really do not have good arguments. And so they just make it a panic situation. They make it a situation of right and wrong. It's like one side, one idea is their idea, that suddenly there are no such things as gender. Suddenly that's a construct. And the other is hatred. There's not like, what is your, one of the things that's so interesting about this conversation between Neil deGrasse Tyson and I is I know he has different political views than I do. I know he has different religious views than I do, but we were two people just talking, whereupon you find that can actually be accomplished. So this brings me back, and I mentioned this yesterday, but more information has come out about it. This brings me back to Norm Macdonald, one of my favorite comedians, really an offbeat guy. I mean, I think he's had lots of problems in his life, but he's also stood up for a lot of things. He was thrown off Saturday Night Live for making jokes about O.J. Simpson when he was on trial, and he was obviously guilty, and the president of NBC was unhappy because he played golf with Simpson, and basically that cost him like one of the top jobs in television, just being an honest guy. He's got a big mouth, but he is hilarious. I listened to his audiobook. I've said this before, based on a true story, his kind of fake novelized memoir. Twice I had to pull off the road. I was laughing so hard I would have died. When I say that, I mean I literally would have crashed the car. I was laughing so hard, the tears pouring down my face. Crowder calls him the most important comic mind in the country. I think that's absolutely right. He is certainly the most original stand-up guy going. So he went out and he made these statements about Me Too. He's supposed to be on The Tonight Show. And it was Kimmel's show, right? Was it Jimmy Kimmel's show? Fallon. Okay, it was Fallon's show, sorry. So he was going to be on Fallon's show, and he made these comments in an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, where he said, it used to be, they would say, well, there's so many women accusing 100 women can't be lying. Then it became one woman can't lie, and that became I believe all women. And you're like, what? And obviously, he's right. He's right. We don't believe all women any more than we believe all men. You have this right to due process. It does when a company has, 100 people complaining about one of their employees. Maybe it's time to look at that. But he's absolutely right about it. And then he said that, he started to talk about his feeling for people that he knew, like Roseanne Barr and Louis C.K., and he was talking about how sad it was and all this. And so Jimmy Fallon comes backstage, and I'm reading Norm Macdonald's description of how he was bounced off The Tonight Show for making these remarks. Jimmy came back in, "Can I talk to you, buddy?" And he said he was very, very broken up about it. He didn't want this. He said, "I don't know what to do." I said, "You think I shouldn't do the show?" And he said, "People are crying." And I said, "People are crying?" "Yeah," he said, "senior producers are crying." I said, "Good Lord, bring them in. Let me talk to them. I didn't even know I had the capacity to make people cry." So I felt so bad from that comment. Jimmy said, "Come back. whenever you want, but I think it will hurt the show tonight. I said, Jimmy, I don't want to hurt your show. That's the last thing I want to do is hurt your show. What are they crying about? What are they crying about? I mean, even if he's wrong, and some of the things he said are wrong, but even if he's wrong, what are they crying about? You talk to people. He's going on a talk show. Talk. That's all. If it's not a crisis, why does everybody have to get fired? Why does that have to happen? Why does he have to get banned? I mean, they just banned Brandon Straka from Facebook for 30 days. We have an interview with him. We're going to play it a little closer to his march. He's the walk away guy, walk away from the left. And he's staging a march, and they banned him because he mentioned Alex Jones or tried to link to InfoWars or something like this. They're not banning him for that. They're banning him to keep his march from getting publicized. They're doing it on purpose. Why? Why is it a crisis? Why is it a crisis for there to be two different opinions? And like, I have to say, when it comes to this Me Too thing, oh, the funny part about this, by the way, is, of course, Norm Macdonald had to apologize. So he apologized and said, I do feel for the victims of Me Too, because he made some joke about, oh, it's not so bad to be a Me Too victim. You just buy some new shoes or something like this. And he said, I apologize. You have to have Down syndrome. He said you have to have Down syndrome not to sympathize with the victims. He insulted people with Down syndrome. So now it's like you just can't move, you can't talk. And it's only for people on the right. Let's be clear. It is only for people on the right who get crucified like this for what they say. The thing about the Me Too thing is this too falls into the same category of one side is all right and the other side is crisis, is hatred. I mean, there's no way to have a conversation about it.